Six-Day War, the untold battles of the Six-Day War. What happens when global superpowers play chess with real armies? Why did a tiny strip of land become the powder keg of the Middle East? How did a single airstrike flip the balance of power in just hours? Before the bullets flew and borders shifted, there was a storm brewing, one made of broken promises, Cold War paranoia, and a region tangled in ancient rivalries and modern ambitions. This is not just a war story. It's a thriller where kings, generals, and ideologies collide. It's the tale of how Arab unity became a ticking time bomb, how diplomacy turned into deadlock, and how Israel launched an airstrike so devastating it made history gasp. And yes, there's espionage, secret alliances, and a dash of military swagger that would make James Bond raise an eyebrow. So buckle up. Because this isn't just the prelude to war, it's the overture to one of the most shocking victories in modern history. Ever since Israel's stunning victories in the 1948 War of Independence and the 1956 Suez Crisis, the Arab world had been simmering with resentment. Egypt, Syria, and Jordan, each nursing wounds of humiliation, formed a coalition determined to reverse the tide. The Arab states viewed Israel's existence not just as a political affront, but as a symbol of Western intrusion into the heart of the Arab world. Despite the ceasefires, the region was anything but peaceful. Border skirmishes, guerrilla raids by Palestinian fedayeen, and retaliatory Israeli strikes kept tensions high. Both sides knew the conflict was far from over. They were preparing, not for peace, but for the next war. The Cold War added a volatile layer to the Middle East. The United States backed Israel while the Soviet Union supported Arab regimes. International diplomacy was paralyzed by superpower rivalry. The UN, caught between competing interests, failed to broker lasting peace. The stage was set for a confrontation that would redraw the map of the region. The match was lit when the Soviet Union falsely informed Egypt that Israel had massed 11 to 13 brigades on the Syrian border, preparing for an imminent strike. Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser, already under pressure to show solidarity with Syria, took the bait. He began mobilizing troops in the Sinai Peninsula and demanded the withdrawal of UN peacekeeping forces on May 16. Israel, wary of foreign troops on its soil, refused to allow UNEF deployment on its side of the border. The buffer zone vanished, the countdown to war had begun. In the days that followed, Egypt, Syria, Jordan, and Sudan began full-scale mobilization. Iraq sent expeditionary forces to Jordan. Saudi Arabia pledged support. The Arab world was rallying for war. The rhetoric was fiery. Nasser declared, "We are ready for war. These waters are ours," referring to the Straits of Tiran, a vital maritime lifeline for Israeli oil imports. On May 22 to 23, Egypt blocked Israeli ships from entering the straits. Israel had long warned that such a move would be a casus belli, a direct cause for war. Faced with encirclement and economic strangulation, Israel formed a national unity government on June 1, bringing together left and right-wing factions, including military legend Moshe Dayan as defense minister. On June 4, the government made the fateful decision: Israel would strike first. The Arab coalition had the numbers. Force Arab coalition. Israel troops 240,000, 100,000. Tanks 2,504, 800, aircraft 957, 300. But Israel had something else. A plan. At 7:45 a.m., Israel launched Operation Focus, a surprise airstrike that would become legendary. Nearly 200 Israeli aircraft flew low to avoid radar, targeting 14 Egyptian airfields. Egypt's air defense was off, ironically to protect a VIP flight. Within 3 hours, 338 Egyptian aircraft were destroyed, and 100 pilots killed 10. Jordan and Syria retaliated with airstrikes at 11 a.m., but Israel responded with devastating counterattacks. 28 Jordanian planes destroyed 53 Syrian planes, destroyed 10 Iraqi planes destroyed. Israel lost only 19 aircraft. Air supremacy was secured. Egypt deployed 7 divisions, 4 armored, 2 infantry, and 1 mechanized. Israeli forces, now backed by air dominance, launched a lightning offensive. Within days, they reached the Suez Canal. Despite Israeli warnings, Jordan shelled West Jerusalem. Israel responded by capturing East Jerusalem, the Old City, and most of the West Bank 13. Syria shelled northern Israel. On June 9 to 10, Israeli forces stormed the Golan Heights, capturing the strategic plateau after fierce mountain fighting. By June 10, the war was over. In just 6 days, Israel had tripled its territory, capturing the Sinai Peninsula, Gaza Strip, West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Golan Heights 14. The Arab world was stunned. The geopolitical landscape had shifted. The seeds of future conflict and peace negotiations were sown. Now pause for a sec. Step into the extraordinary. Subscribe to Eccentric Digital Pixel. Welcome to the wild frontier of creativity, where pixels pulse with imagination and every frame tells a story you've never seen before. At Eccentric Digital Pixel, we don't follow trends. We bend reality. From surreal digital art to mind-blowing visual experiments, this is your backstage pass to the future of expression. Why hit subscribe? Get exclusive access to jaw-dropping digital creations. Be the first to witness new drops by turning on notifications. Dive into a world of eccentric brilliance that inspires, challenges, and captivates. Join a community of visionaries who crave the unconventional. Don't just scroll, experience the pixel revolution. Smash that subscribe button and ring the bell to never miss a masterpiece. Because normal is boring, and you were born to see the world differently. By June 5, 1967, Egypt had amassed 100,000 troops and nearly 950 tanks in the Sinai Peninsula. Israel, outnumbered but not outmaneuvered, concentrated 3 divisions, including 6 armored brigades, 1 infantry, 1 mechanized infantry, and 3 paratrooper brigades, totaling 70,000 men and 700 tanks. Israel's plan was bold: strike from the north and center, not the central and southern routes used in 1956. The goal? Surprise and speed. Major General Israel Tal, commanding the northernmost division, launched his advance toward Arish through Gaza, aiming to encircle Khan Yunis. Paratroopers were ordered to seize Rafah. Egyptian intelligence misread the move as a diversion, offering little resistance at first. But by the time the 60th Armored Brigade met resistance, it was too late. Khan Yunis Railway Junction fell within 4 hours. The IDF pressed on to Sheikh Zuweid, where fierce Egyptian resistance was crushed under the weight of Israeli air dominance. Elements of the 79th Armored Battalion and 7th Brigade entered a suspiciously quiet Arish. But silence was a trap. Egyptian troops opened fire from balconies and windows, turning the city into a war zone. Only after reinforcements arrived did the IDF secure full control. Tal's division split. One group advanced toward the Suez Canal. The other turned south, capturing Bir Lafan and Jabal Libni, severing Egyptian reinforcements between sectors. Further south, Major General Ariel Sharon led the 38th Armored Division, 14,000 men and 150 tanks, against Egypt's 2nd Infantry Division, commanded by Major General Saadi Naguib, a seasoned officer born in the Nile Delta, known for his tactical rigidity and loyalty to Nasser. Sharon's plan was surgical. Paratroopers landed behind Egyptian lines, sowing chaos. Artillery positions at Katef were neutralized. A close-range tank battle ensued. 40 Egyptian tanks destroyed, 19 Israeli tanks lost. Despite Egypt's forces still being largely intact, Field Marshal Abdel Hakim Amr panicked upon hearing of Abu Ajalah's fall. He ordered a full retreat without a clear sequence or structure. This disorganized withdrawal shattered morale and defensive cohesion. The IDF chose not to chase retreating Egyptians. Instead, they captured 3 strategic passes leading to the Egyptian mainland. These became death traps. 10,000 Egyptian soldiers were killed in a single day. Sharm el-Sheikh fell on June 7th. Ras Sudar followed on June 8th. Israel wanted to avoid a second front. It sent a peace message to King Hussein of Jordan via UN envoy Od Bull. But Nasser convinced Hussein that Egypt was winning. Jordanian and Iraqi aircraft began shelling West Jerusalem, killing 16 soldiers and 20 civilians, damaging 900 buildings. Israel responded with Operation Focus, destroying Jordan's air infrastructure and securing air dominance. Jordanian forces took position in the UN residency, Government House. Israel's Reserve Battalion 161 stormed the compound under heavy fire, forcing the Jordanians to retreat to Bethlehem. Later that day, Israel encircled East Jerusalem. Jerusalem Brigade from the south, Harel Brigade, and 55th Paratroopers Brigade from the north. In the early hours of June 6, 1967, the 55th Paratroopers Brigade was tasked with storming Ammunition Hill, a fortified Jordanian stronghold guarding the road to Mount Scopus. Israeli intelligence had underestimated the defenders. Expecting a single platoon, they encountered a reinforced Jordanian company of 150 elite troops entrenched in bunkers and trenches. The battle was brutal and intimate. Hand-to-hand combat in narrow trenches, grenades echoing like thunder, bayonets flashing in the dark. The IDF lost 36 soldiers, including nearly all but 2 of their attacking officers. After 4 hours of relentless fighting, the hill was taken. The trenches were soaked in blood, the air thick with dust and gunpowder. Ammunition Hill became a symbol of sacrifice and valor. With Ammunition Hill secured, the 55th Paratroopers Brigade pushed eastward, linking up with Mount Scopus and defeating Jordanian positions around the American colony. The city was being encircled. Towards evening, the Harel Brigade captured Latrun and Ramallah, while the 163rd Infantry Battalion secured Abu Tor, cutting off the Old City from Bethlehem and Hebron. Despite internal hesitation, Defense Minister Moshe Dayan gave the order, "Enter the Old City." The government feared damage to holy sites, so the assault was entrusted solely to the paratroopers. They entered through the Lion's Gate, under sniper fire, navigating narrow alleys. At 10 a.m., Commander Motagur radioed the words that would echo through history. "The Temple Mount is in our hands." The paratroopers wept at the Western Wall, overcome by the moment. Jerusalem, divided since 1948, was whole again. On the same day, Israeli forces swept through the West Bank, capturing Judea, Hebron, Bethlehem, and Nablus. The Jordanian army, battered and demoralized, retreated across the river. Israel had secured victory on the Central Front. Syria, misled by Nasser's false claims of Egyptian success, launched airstrikes on Galilee. Their jets were intercepted and destroyed. A ground assault aimed at Tel Dan, Dan, and She'ar Yashuv was repelled. Syrian tanks were too wide for bridges, communication was poor, and Israeli air dominance shattered their morale. That evening, Israel struck back. Operation Focus destroyed 2/3 of Syria's air force, grounding their jets and forcing them out of the war. Israel hesitated. The Golan Heights were a fortress, steep escarpments, bunkers, minefields. But intelligence revealed Syrian positions were weakened. Without cabinet approval, Moshe Dayan ordered the offensive. The 8th Armored Brigade, led by Colonel Albert Mandler, advanced from Givat Haim. The terrain was brutal, rocky slopes, narrow paths, but Israeli airstrikes softened Syrian defenses. After fierce fighting, they captured Zaura, Kala, and Ain Fit. In the central sector, the 181st Battalion stormed Dardara and Tel Hilal, overcoming entrenched resistance. By evening, Israel reached the plateau, and 8 brigades were poised for the final assault. The war ended at the Purple Line, the new ceasefire boundary between Israel and Syria. The cost was staggering. 983 Israelis killed 15,000 Egyptians, 700 Jordanians, 2,500 Syrians. Israel had seized Gaza Strip, Sinai Peninsula, West Bank, including East Jerusalem, Golan Heights, and placed over 1 million Arabs under its direct control. Israel's victory was not just about firepower. It was about superior military leadership, meticulous preparation, decisive intelligence, air supremacy from day one. The Six-Day War was not just a battle, it was a transformation. Thanks for watching this gripping journey through the Six-Day War. If you found this story as riveting as we did, don't forget to follow us for more deep dives into history's most dramatic moments. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. Click the notification bell to get instantly alerted whenever we drop another intriguing story. We've got more epic tales, untold secrets, and powerful narratives coming your way. Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next one.